But you're very welcome, and thanks so much for coming along, particularly on a sunny day as it is today. It's lovely to see so many of you. Thank you very, very much. Yes, and can I hand over to John Johnston, please?
Good morning, everybody, and welcome along to our district assembly. So a few housekeeping arrangements to begin with. If any of you are home alone, can you please put your full address and a contact telephone number in the chat to myself, please. That way it doesn't appear in the full chat, it'll just appear in mine, and I won't be recording mine, so that'll be okay. And can you check your name, club and district are showing in your profile? All mobile phones, please to be switched off or on silent unless you're actually using them for watching this assembly. And all participants to mute themselves unless speaking is basically the main thing. If you want to raise any questions, please put them into the chat, and in the chat we'll be able to pick up them through the session today. If we don't get a chance to answer your questions today, we will be going through them all at the end and speaking with the people concerned, and hopefully we'll put out a fact sheet with the questions answered for you after the event. The other thing, obviously, we are recording today, so if anybody has a problem with that, can you please let us know? Or if you do have a problem with us recording, please turn off your video if you don't want to appear in the recording. Thank you very much. It's a morning session. We're hoping to finish about just the back of 12, about 12:15, and it's broken into two sections. There'll be a break halfway through for a comfort break if you require. I'll now pass you back to Heather, DG Heather, to start the real show. Thank you.
Right, good morning again, everybody. A very warm welcome to this year's District Assembly. It's great to see so many Rotarians here. We're one short of 200, so we might still break the 200 if somebody's just struggling with their technology or about to come on. So the purpose of coming together in the District Assembly is to talk about priorities for the coming year, which we're now reflecting in the district plan. District plan. Now that would be interesting. That would be a whole new take on the bake-off, wouldn't it? Reflected in the district plan, informed by what's important to you at local level, and supporting you in how you can best work together on these. And I was just thinking, at our last district assembly, and I think I'm right in this, it also needed to be conducted online like this one. But at that point, we were only just several weeks into the first lockdown for the pandemic. And at that stage, who could have known that we would be sitting here today at our second online district assembly? Time seems to have both expanded and contracted in a very weird way during the pandemic, doesn't it? So this has been a year very much, we were coming out of the second lockdown, a year none of us could possibly have imagined that we would live through, and the legacy for which is clearly going to be with us for some time to come. It's obviously been a year, I think we'd all recognise, where Rotary has also come into its own right across the world, and certainly here within our own district, supporting individuals and communities with practical support, checking on neighbours, delivering shopping, supporting food banks, helping to address a whole range of issues relating to poverty and inequality, loneliness, isolation, and also supporting the vaccination programme as many clubs have done more recently. So there's no doubt we've risen to the challenge of the pandemic. We've also risen to the challenge of using new technology to conduct our meetings as we are today. And that's allowed us to keep in touch with our members and also to plan how we continue to respond to the needs of our communities. I think what technology has also shown us is how small the world is in lots of ways, and how connected we all are to other Rotarians globally, with speakers from all over the world now speaking regularly at our meetings, and all of us making visits to clubs across our district and beyond without leaving our own homes. At the Rotary International Assembly in February, which was also an online event for the first time ever as well, incoming Rotary International President Shekhar Mehta outlined his theme excuse me, for the Rotary year 21-22. And I'd like to show you a very short clip of how Shekhar presented that to us as incoming district governors during International Assembly. Ken?
Hello, the movers and shakers of Rotary around the world. You, the DGEs, are the movers, and I am shaker. Today, you are taking a very important step in your journey of service and leadership. The forthcoming 17 months will be the most amazing, fruitful months in your life. You can turn this period into the most satisfying period of your life. During this period, I urge you to dream big, guided by our shared vision for Rotary. You will plan and set goals, inspire and motivate Rotarians to reach goals. Goals to expand the reach of our organization by increasing membership, and goals to increase the impact of Rotary by serving the world. And in this journey, you will play a stellar role as you share your goals with Rotarians and Rotaractors in your district and inspire them to do more and grow more. Friends, this will be our guiding mantra. Do more as in bigger and impactful service projects, and grow more as in increasing our membership and expanding the participation. Membership, friends, continues to be our biggest challenge. For the last 17 plus years, our membership has been at 1.2 million. Together, let us change that over the next 17 months. My dear change maker governors, here is your opportunity to make the biggest change in Rotary history as far as membership is concerned. What we have not accomplished in the last 17 years, I challenge you to accomplish in 17 months. But that's too big a dream, you may say. Well, if I ask you to dream big, I have to lead from the front. One of my inspiration comes from what George Bernard Shaw said. He said, you see things and you say why, but I dream of things that never were and I say why not. So friends, the dream is to increase our membership to 1.3 million by 1st July 2022. How can we reach that incredible goal? The answer is, each one bring one. Ask each Rotarian to bring one member to Rotary in the next 17 months. Just one member in 17 months is all you need to ask of every Rotarian in your district. You can ensure this by leading by example and having your club presidents lead by example as well. As Rotarians in every club do this, they too will become change makers, as they will change the lives for good of each person that they make a Rotarian. Governors-elect, we need to grow more to do more. I have always hugely been inspired by the motto of Rotary, service above self. It has taught me to care for others and share with others. Service to me is about thinking of others even before I think of myself. Today, the need to serve has become even more necessary and apparent. So my dear change maker governors, in the coming Rotary year, I request you, urge you, cajole you to serve people and help to change their lives. So, my dear governors, our theme for the year 2021-2022 is Serve to Change Lives.
I'm not sure anybody should ever have to follow Shekar, especially when he's got the sort of the fallen gold and glitter as well, which I don't have in my little home office today, because he is an incredibly inspirational speaker. And that whole presentation that he did at the beginning of the assembly, you can get on YouTube. It's about 15 minutes long. There may be elements of that that you want to have another look at or share with your club as well and chat about. So Serve to Change Lives is the focus from Shekar Mehta, our incoming president. And I think a focus on service is what's needed from us as Rotarians now more than ever. And of course, the way that we do that also allows us to work together as Rotarians with all the fun and the friendship that also comes with working together to make a difference. Because as we all know, Rotary is about all of these things. So in Shekar's words, let's look at how we can do more, because Rotary is needed in our communities now more than ever after this horrendous pandemic. I have no doubt that will help us to widen our reach and make connections, which will also allow us to grow more. And let's see if each one of us can bring one, in Shekar's words, a concept I know which has been talked about before in Rotary. So widening our reach and focusing on projects will not only benefit our communities, but inevitably that's what's going to make us more visible and ensure that what we do and how we do it is as relevant as possible to our communities. And so that's my focus for the next year in working with you, is exactly that. It is making Rotary relevant. And you'll see that this underpins our programme for today. Of course, as we all know, because we are all club members, we are all Rotarians, where Rotary happens is at club level, is at local level within our communities. And so I want to say up front to you that the sole purpose of my role as I see it, and the district support team as we all see it, and you'll meet them in a little while, is to support clubs to deliver on your priorities and to continue to make a difference within our communities. So I've been working with the district team to develop a district plan which takes account of all of these priorities. It's already been presented to the presidents-elect at their training as a draft, and we've had some useful feedback and contributions from them which have helped to shape the plan. So I'm not intended to go into the detail of the plan today, because that will be shared widely in the near future. But I did want to take the opportunity to highlight some of these key areas, not least of all because some of these are also getting pulled through into some of our agenda items for today. So we continue to have a focus on eradicating polio and leveraging the legacy from that investment, which has been huge, absolutely transformational at world level. And I know that there can be a little bit of frustration about whether Rotary gets all of the credit and all of the public relations interest and profile that it should get around that. But I'm keen to work with you to see if we can do more consistently across clubs and at district level to promote that important work and use opportunities like World Polio Day, World Immunisation Week, so that the role of Rotary in these amazing achievements so far is better recognised. On our programmes, I'm really keen we work together to increase access to global grants, internationally and with other clubs within the Great Britain and Ireland area, and also district grants. And you'll hear a couple of examples from clubs from within our district as part of today's programme. To encourage working together across clubs, I'm keen to work with you to deliver an annual Rotary Day of service for our district. This was something that Shekar talked about as well, and something which I think could work really well in our own area. It's really focused on raising awareness of what Rotary is doing in our district right across the clubs, and I think offers opportunities on the back of that to promote interest in Rotary, to grow our membership, and also to raise our profile with other organisations to help us develop new partnerships. And I'd also like to work with all of you to tell our story better. Easy to say, a little bit more challenging to do. But one thing's clear, there's nobody better to promote Rotary and the benefits of it than those of us who are already Rotarians. You know, let's think about maybe getting a Rotary moment on video, for example. You might find that kind of toe curling, just the thought of it, but it's incredibly effective. And you see that, don't you, through the use of media and video on social media. It can be really effective. So we all have that story, don't we? Why did we join? Why do we love it? Why are we so passionate about it? Why do we want to share it? Let's tell people. And we're also looking at whether a district e-club, for example, would be possible, and the opportunities that participation in RILA by young people, who are always so inspired by their experiences, as we know, might provide in setting up a Rotaract e-club while they are still very much connected with each other and with the family of Rotary. And you know, with 5 Rotaract clubs in our district of 88 clubs, it'd be great to work together to increase the impact, the reach, and the membership of Rotaract. And Rotaract members can also offer us such a lot of insights and support into how better to engage with young people as clubs in our communities. We all face the challenge of getting younger people involved in Rotary, and that's why it's a priority in the plan. And it also includes the opportunity for the district to be a pilot for a small grants programme for young people, Seeds for Social Action. And you'll hear more about that later on today. And I hope it's something that you think that your club would want to get involved in and support. Environment as our new area of focus is also something in which there's great interest from clubs. And we heard that already. Some of you will have been at District Council, huge interest in that area and how clubs can get involved. It's a great way to support intergenerational projects and for community engagement and involvement. So this is also recognised within our plan and within our priorities. And again, there'll be a chance to discuss that as well as part of today's agenda. And some clubs have already sent in some questions that they want to put to Malcolm. I'd also like to look at the possibility of organising a project fair at district level, which supports clubs to identify other clubs in the district that they can work together to scale up projects to maximise impact where there are shared areas of interest. I know a lot of that happens already and it can happen in areas. It'd be great to see what we could do at district level where there's a shared area of interest. Another way as well to grow more, to do more, to get our message out there about what we do and the difference we make. So through the district plan, as you'd expect, given the challenges that we've been facing recently in relation to reducing membership numbers, there is a key focus on membership, and I'll say a little bit more about that before I close. And of course, this can include developing new clubs, looking at how clubs can do things differently, and a lot of you are already looking at this and much, much more. Hybrid meetings in the future, which are partially online, so we can maximise access and fit with people's busy lives and help to take account of winter weather. Maybe looking at cause-based clubs. So for example, I'm having a discussion just now with the RAF Benevolent Fund about whether we could have a cause-based e-club, or we could better partner with the forces in terms of people coming out the military who have that real sense of affinity while they're in there, but sometimes struggle when they come out into the community. So partnership opportunities with community organisations, community activists, businesses and other organisations, doing more with others. And of course, that can also include looking differently at areas of partnership which we might not focus on much just now. For example, business. So local businesses have been hit hard by the pandemic and need our support. Equally, partnerships with local businesses and looking at corporate membership differently can bring huge opportunities. So we're going to talk a little bit about that later on today, just a different perspective on all of that from a partnership perspective. And I think we've got a huge opportunity to take Rotary out to community activists locally who could benefit from what Rotary brings to deliver on the need that they've identified, but they might be struggling to do something about, but they want to address. Going out to community organisations who are already making a difference in our communities and addressing need. Let's join forces, let's maximise impact, let's bring all of the wonderful infrastructure and capacity and skills, knowledge and experience that Rotary has. And really do that in a way which meets the needs of communities. So taking Rotary out, bringing the community in, making Rotary relevant, that's what the plan's all about. But the key thing about the district plan, in which all of these priorities and some more is included, is that it's very much a living document that allows all of us to work together to deliver the outcomes that we want. And importantly, the plan covers 3 years, as not everything in it is short term or deliverable in 12 months, as you would expect. Look how quickly 2020 went by. And that's why I'm working with Ken McLennan, who's coming in as DG after me, and Jim Hatter, who follows Ken, to ensure that we can have stability and continuity for the next 3 years and a continued focus on the issues that matter most to clubs, that matter most to you over that period. So just to finish off, as most of you will already know, around 6 months ago, the district team set up a task force to look at the challenges that we're facing in relation to membership. And the district plan also therefore reflects the recommendations from this report. And they also form the basis for a 3-year plan to really work with you to revolutionise the way we go about things in district in relation to membership. and as a result to help to support clubs to be in a better position to recruit new people than may currently be the case, and also to retain members. At this point, as you'll know from your programme, I was due to hand over to DG Alistair to talk about membership and the work that is ongoing to implement the recommendations of the task force, which he is currently leading on as DG. Also very helpfully, as some of you may know, from the 1st of July 2021, Alistair is also taking on the role of membership team leader, which will provide some real continuity around the actions that we're taking and that we're working on with clubs around this key area of work. Alistair, however, is unfortunately not very well today at all. So let me just finish off with a couple of minutes focusing in on the work in this area in his absence. And you know, when we talk about membership, I know today and at other Rotary meetings, it can be very easy just to shut down, and it feels a little bit like, here we go again. And I hear you, and you may be thinking you've heard it all before too. New DG, district team, same old story. But here's the challenge. The challenge is that our membership is in decline. That we know that it's just the way it is. And if we want to continue to experience and offer others the chance to experience the Rotary that is so important to all of us, we do need to work together to do something. 52 clubs out of our 88 clubs have had no new members in the past year. Only 18.6% of our membership is female, and 85% of our current membership will be 70 in 10 years' time. And that's not an observation about age itself, it's just about the impact that all of these things have on our sustainability. So just now, DG Alistair's currently out and about visiting all clubs in the district to offer support, hear the ideas that clubs already have and would like support to deliver. And there are already great ideas coming from clubs that they would like support with, or they're already getting on with, and lots of you are doing great things already. There's also a range of support that we're putting in place and making budget available for at district level, including financial resources to support clubs to deliver on their plans around growing and developing membership and retaining members. And also looking at how we can make available public image resources which help as well. And all of this is coming from what you're telling us, that the kind of support that you need and the kind of support that you want from district. So following on from the visit from Alistair, clubs will then also be having a meeting with their assistant governor and going through a mini club health check process, looking at where the club wants to be in 6 months, 12 months, the next 2 to 3 years. These plans inevitably need to not just be about membership, but also about public image. They're so inextricably linked, and skills development. Then the support will be available to clubs to develop their own public image strategy to help make clubs attractive generally and for attracting new members, building on your achievements and helping to address issues that you've identified. And we'll also be speaking to clubs about the possibility of forming new clubs in their areas as well. As part of these discussions, really importantly, we'll also be looking at retention too, not just growth. Interestingly, the last 6 months or so, even during lockdown, we managed in district to recruit 76 new members in our district, but we lost 97. And it's these kinds of things that we need to know more about. We need to understand why. Sometimes there are, you know, life reasons, business reasons why people leave, but sometimes it's not about that, and we need to know why. Also, how and when we invite prospective members, so the focus is on what we do and the difference we make, not necessarily how and where we meet. So that first experience, that first impression is a compelling one. And we also need to look at how we support our members, how we deal with disputes in our clubs, and importantly, how we look after and mentor our new members. So there's a couple of things that Alistair's already working on, 2 practical things. One is Zoom meetings, bringing together new members who are joining the district so that they get a real sense of being part of that wider district family, international family of Rotary, and also looking where it would be helpful at providing mentoring training to support and help retain new members in clubs by supporting clubs to have people who are really focused and skilled at doing that. The task force report challenged us by stating we cannot keep doing the same things and expecting different results, which of course is a truism for a reason. And in fact, we continue doing the same things, the results will be worse, not better. And that's what we're working on together with you to address. But we recognise we're not starting again from scratch. We've got a huge opportunity here. The change might have to be gradual. It certainly has to be managed and planned. And the pandemic has forced all of us into huge changes that we may or may not be happy with, but we have had to accept them. As we hopefully come to the end of the worst part of the pandemic, clubs need to look and assess if they want to go 100% back to how they were, or if they want to take this natural opportunity to make changes to the way that they operate. And a lot of that is going to be driven by what we understand about our communities. Public image is crucially important, as we know, as part of our work in relation to membership, and we're working hard with you to help make clubs as attractive to new members as possible. And love it or loathe it, social media is absolutely central to this. And our new public image chair and team are building a network of social media champions so that we can provide practical support to clubs in this area, which we're getting asked for a lot, and some clubs are already receiving this support. So, as we all know, it's what we do that matters. The public need to see us making a difference to people's lives and working in our communities. At the end of the day, that's what makes us all tick anyway too. People now want to do projects. They want to get involved with groups making a difference in communities. Look what's happened during the pandemic with volunteering. Age does not matter. It's what we do that matters. Active Rotarians are what we need. So what's clear to me generally, and not just in relation to membership, is that we achieve more when we work together. And I'm really looking forward to working with all of you to serve to change lives and to continue to make Rotary relevant in the coming year. But that's enough from me for today. I've managed to grab 2 slots for the price of 1, and I'm sure you'll join me in wishing DG Alistair a speedy recovery. Thanks for listening. I'd now like to hand over to incoming DGE, Ken McLennan, to introduce the district support team to you.
Thanks very much, Heather. Good morning, everyone. And for those that don't know me, I'm Ken McLennan, as you said, and looking forward to the coming year as District Governor-elect and to follow Heather in just over a year's time. As I learn more about the district, I find the various teams within district are all here with the sole aim of supporting clubs to grow Rotary and thus grow our impact and extend our reach in all that we do. It is only when putting the team together you realise how much they interact with each other. In a never-ending circle, you could say. To give you a flavour of what they do and how they interact with each other, each team leader is going to share with you how they can support you in this circle and across the circle. Whatever we do, it starts and finishes with our public image. Without public image, we get no members and we get no projects. So with that, I hand over to Christy Robb, who recently agreed to take over the public image role. So Christy.
Thank you very much, Ken. So public image is the cornerstone of our organisation. It feeds into every part of our Rotary experience and as such needs our full attention. Public image is not what we think of ourselves, it's what we want people outside of Rotary to think of us. Getting people to recognise the name of Rotary is a start, but our work needs to go further. When we walk around a supermarket, we see so many different brands on the shelves. Take the cereal aisle, for example. We see Kellogg's slap bang in the middle of a shelf in every supermarket. Kellogg's doesn't just have one cereal, much like Rotary doesn't have one club. But Kellogg's is recognisable straight away because we all know that brand. We all know Kellogg's makes cereal and we know that they're reputable. They've been around since 1906, and despite all the changes to their company and the products over the last 115 years, people still know the brand straight away. That's what we want for Rotary. We want Rotary to be recognised and recognised for the right things. We're no longer in the 70s. We have moved on so much since then. We want to be known to be an inclusive, diverse, hard-working, reputable organisation. We want to be known for what we do. We want people to see the Rotary wheel and instantly know who we are and what we are. Rotary's public image is integral to the success of clubs in so many ways, but it starts with all of us, every single Rotarian in this district. No 2 of our 88 clubs will be the same, but our aims are. Each individual club's public image adds to the image of Rotary as a whole. When people don't just see the great things we do, but also hear about them, it shapes their opinion about Rotary. Over the last 10 years, social media has become the most powerful way of getting the word across about everything. Every time you scroll through Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, we see adverts and posts from organisations and companies all over the world getting their message out. Some will scroll past and will have no interest in it, and some will catch your attention and will stop and will read what they have to say. The question is our social media presence powerful enough to make people stop and read what we have to say? When we publish on social media, we have the power to tell Rotary's story. We influence the public's opinion of Rotary, and more importantly, we have the potential to engage with people that might be interested enough in what we do to want to join us and help make a difference. If we were to ask people in our community what they think Rotary is, would they give us the right answer? Would they know that we've played a massive part in almost fully eradicating polio across the world? Would they know about the different service areas we have? Would they know what you do in your community? When we talk to people about Rotary, we have to be spreading the word of an incredible project that we do to benefit others. But we have to make it relevant. For example, let's talk to the parents about the amazing youth work we do. Talk about Ryla and the benefits this has for the children. Tell them about the primary school quizzes that we run and the incredible opportunities that we give through young artists, young photographer and young chef. Talk to people about the Rotary Foundation and what it does all over the world to improve health, the support of education and the alleviation of poverty. Tell them about the projects you're involved in. Maybe it's a water sanitation project or you're funding schools being built overseas after a disaster. Tell them your story and find something that they can relate to. Talking to and showing people not only what our clubs do, but what an individual can help with if they get on board with your club will benefit our membership massively. We have to remember that without members, we're unable to sustain these projects. If we don't have members, we don't have the bodies to fundraise, and in turn, we then don't have the money to do the things we need to make a difference. Public image really is important to get the word out about everything that we do. But let's now hear from Elaine Sarah about the youth sector and the fantastic work we do there.
Thank you, Kirsty. Rotary Youth is one of the biggest developing areas within Rotary. It offers opportunities to children starting at the age of 7 to 12 with Rotary Kids, Interact for age 12 to 18 and Rotaract supporting 18 to 30 plus, which offers the opportunity to take Rotary into university and adult life. Rotary Kids, Interact, Rotaract and Ryler, supporting the exciting beginnings of new friendships, progressing into common interests within communities and beyond, developing teamwork, leadership and responsibility to each other as well as others. It's quite common to see communities around the world spinning the wheel of Rotary, with Rotary members and Rotary youth working side by side to take action to make a difference to their communities and our planet. Let's stop for a second and think. What are we doing to attract younger members to Rotary? We have all the above various topics to suit all age groups, but still we struggle with getting our youth to venture into becoming Rotarians. It's the 21st century, so how do our young communicate, interact, socialise with each other? It's not via meeting club. In fact, the word club is no longer used. The terminology used now is Snapchat, Discord, Zoom, chat rooms, and in some cases, gaming platforms. Moving with the times, we have to start to evolve into this world of technology, but we don't have to learn how it all works. What we can inspire is the use of an e-club and generating topics that are interesting to the younger generation, where they can interact with each other, no matter where they are in the world or what they are doing. To end, Rotary Youth should always relate with Youth of Action, supporting projects both at home and internationally. One of the successful interests currently is environmental. Youth of today bring together parents, families, neighbours and friends all around the world. Youth around the world are more aware of our environmental concerns and they want to get involved. There are many groups of youth just looking for support to get their beliefs off the ground. Ladies and gentlemen, worldwide, our youth are the next generation of Rotary. I would now ask you to take the journey with Mary into Rotary International.
Thank you, Elaine Sarah. International service is a high priority for Rotary. It supports all of our strategic priorities and is an avenue of service that promotes international understanding, goodwill and peace. International projects help Rotary fulfil all areas of focus. They can involve more than one club, they can be big or small, and they can be district-wide. We're all aware of the importance, as Elaine Sarah says, of youth, and international projects can enable involvement from RotaKids, Interact and Rotaract. Again, fellowship's one of the main reasons Rotarians say they joined. An international fellowship exchange provides opportunities to make connections worldwide, and it can also help provide connections for worldwide projects. The role of the international team is to support clubs by connecting them to mentors and resources that can help plan stronger projects, and this includes inter-club working and joint projects. Again, listening to what Christy said, the PI team are always available to help clubs share good ideas and potential projects, and this in turn enables clubs to identify where they can get involved in projects with other clubs who are looking for partners. If your club has completed a successful project, celebrate it, publicise it. Other clubs are always interested, and it's also a great way to show external parties the important work done by Rotary. There were many disasters last year, not least the COVID pandemic, and there will be more than more in the coming year. We saw countries suffering as a result of earthquakes, storms, drought, and man-made disasters, including the explosion in Beirut. And the forecast is that there'll be many more natural disasters in 2021, and some of these are likely to be climate related. Rotary is not a first responder, but clubs can still provide assistance through Club Contact, Shelter Box, Aqua Box, Disaster Aid, and the Rotary Foundation. However, rebuilding communities in the long term is just as important as responding following the immediate aftermath of disasters, and this increases the need for international projects. International projects provide aid in many areas, including water and sanitation, education, fighting disease, supporting education. So it's important to have a district resource network of experts in these areas. Currently, the international team include local experts for Rotary shoeboxes, shelter box, sand dams, and international fellowship exchange. But we're keen to recruit additional local experts for any of the other areas that we're involved in internationally. As you're aware, international projects require funding, and clubs always want to know what is available in the way of Rotary grants. The foundation team generally deal with all grant applications, but to receive grant funds, district requires clubs to be qualified. This involves at least one member of the club attending a grant management seminar and accepting and implementing a memorandum of understanding which outlines requirements for financial management and document retention. All grant-funded projects must support the mission of the Rotary Foundation to enable Rotarians to advance world understanding, goodwill and peace through the improvement of health, the support of education and the alleviation of poverty. So I will now pass you over to Bill Ross to hear a bit more about Foundation and grants. Thanks.
Morning. You've just heard from Mary the mission of the Rotary Foundation, and what I take from this particularly is that it is to enable Rotary members. That's to enable you and your clubs to achieve the mission aims, and that is also the aim of the District Foundation team to help you do that. It is obvious how that links with the work that you do internationally, and you have just heard how the District International team are able to support you with that. The consequences of the coronavirus pandemic have highlighted and magnified poor health outcomes, lack of opportunity and poverty that exists here in our district. District grants can also help with the local community, vocational and youth projects that you developed to tackle some of these inequalities. There are further links between Foundation and the community team, which also have in their remit environment. As you heard earlier, this is a new 7th area of focus from next Rotary year, with both global and district grants available to support projects related to the environmental theme. One of Rotary's areas of focus is peace building and conflict resolution, and it has a major programme of providing Rotary Peace Fellows at 7 centres around the world. Our district has been lucky to be distance host to one of the new cohort of Peace Fellowship scholars at Bradford University, Humaira from Iran, who will introduce herself to you at the forthcoming district conference. Our district peace ambassador is liaising with Humaira, and we hope that she will be able to visit the district as restrictions are relaxed. Our motto is service above self. The Rotary Foundation helps us extend and magnify our impacts as we seek to achieve this. But in the longer term, we and our children also will benefit from these impacts, from hopefully a more peaceful world, from reduced population growth as families move out of extreme poverty and disadvantage, from improvements to the environment, and from a world free of the risk of polio. But we need Rotarians to raise funds for or to donate directly to our charity, which has more demand for grants than it can support. Do you know that a sustaining member is one who donates $100 a year to Foundation, and that is actually less, or it is about £6 a month, less if you allow for gift tax. So please think about that. And the more Rotarians we have, the better we can do, which is a nice link into DGE Ken McLennan, who's going to speak about membership. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. And I'm speaking on membership on behalf of Alistair Robert DG, who's taking over membership, who we've heard can't make it today. So kindly, Alistair's given me what he was going to say. And our organisation is renowned for the service it gives to change and improve the lives of people in our communities and in communities around the world. Without a regular and significant input of new members and clubs, we will cease to be able to provide the incredible level of support we currently give to our numerous community, environment, international and foundation projects. But it's through the continuing success of these projects and the effective advertising of the great work that we do that we will encourage new members into our fantastic clubs. All of our projects must lead to positive membership dividend for us. Our projects must be promoted to the public, as we've heard from Christy, in order to change their perception of Rotary from being an old man's lunch club into that of a modern, progressive, diverse and inclusive organisation. That is why the relationship between the membership team and the other service and admin teams is so crucial. Membership works together with the service teams, the community, environmental, international, foundation, to ensure we use our service activities to promote the work of Rotary and show the benefits of membership to the communities around us. We will encourage these teams to use their projects to sell our organisation to prospective members. Membership also works closely with the public image team in order to maximise our opportunities to encourage Rotary membership to the public through the effective publicising of the projects we undertake. We also work closely with the learning, development and training team to ensure that new and existing members are properly introduced to Rotary and aided in their development in a way that has a benefit for their clubs and encourage them to become long-term members of our exceptional organisation. And with that, it's over to John Johnson in Learning, Development and Training. John.
Hi, Ken. Thank you very much for that. I am John Johnston and I look after the Learning and Development team. The Learning and Development team look after the development opportunities for Rotary members throughout the district and are primarily the district officer training, the President-elect's training sessions, but also the Assembly and Conference, which obviously we'll be holding next month. These events are organised through close working with the District Governor and their team, also to support team leads in their Rotary sessions in the wider district. After this assembly is finished, we'll be looking after the smaller core team sessions, which will encourage your club members to take part in things that we've got throughout the district. None of these events would be able to be organised without the input from the other team leaders or assistant governors, as communication between all sources is encouraged to produce interesting, relevant and engaging events to enthuse and encourage Rotarians to take part and take away fresh or different ideas to your clubs. Through the Rotary public image to promote, foundation to support international and local events, projects, youth to encourage, membership to carry forward projects, we support and develop our own communities. So let's hear from David Fryer on community and vocational.
Thank you, John, and good morning, fellow Rotarians. Like all teams, we're here to help. A circle has no end. 21st century Rotarians need to embrace their learning and development needs in a fast changing world to meet community and vocational needs. The essence of the Rotary wheel is motion, and we need to maintain momentum. We need to connect and engage with communities in very different ways than in the past, through intergenerational, collaborative cross-sector teams that embraces action, not meetings and meals. The thread of service before self runs through all 7 areas of activity, and by definition, community and vocational project embraces all our themed activities. A waterhole project in Africa needs engineering, scientific and communication skills to work, and affects a community of all ages in addressing their environmental and survival needs. This can be assisted by funding and vocational skills brought together by us, by Rotarians. There is every good reason as to why the focus on every project should bring Rotarians from more than one nation or community together, as we can offer the humanitarian bond that builds solutions to help solve problems. The challenge for the Rotary family in the third decade of the 21st century is to be intergenerational, interactive in maintaining well-being in communities and societies. And we need to use the full range of the skills and talents of all our members and supporters. Above all, we need to meet with communities where they are, to join in and support their activities and embrace a full range of social media platforms to maintain informed and informal contact. Our common bond with the future is the next generation, and the links to young people, whether in their schools or in recognition of their future needs in the world, this must be our shared priority. It's what we do that matters. And if we cannot help the young when they are small, how can we expect them to be the future of Rotary International when they grow up? The public image of Rotary International must evolve, being one of offering a helping hand to embrace diversity and equality, being non-judgmental in all our relationships, and being ready to roll up our sleeves to offer the support to meet local needs. Our clubs of the future must embrace digital connectivity and inclusion in a global world to respond to those humanitarian and environmental needs of the future. And like any circle, to bring it to a close, it's an opportunity for Christy Robb to bring back public image and how the circle comes together. Thank you, Christy.
Thanks, David. So as you've just heard, each of our sectors are different. Youth, international, foundation, membership, learning and development and community. But we all have one thing in common. We need public image to succeed in being successful. We need to show the world who we really are, not what we're perceived to be. Rotary has changed and we want to show people that. The public image team are focused on helping clubs with as much as we can this year and next to really show their full potential to the community, and learning and development will play a huge part in that. In conjunction with the learning and development team, we will work with clubs to give you the tools to showcase the wonderful work that is going on every day throughout our district. Presenting and promoting our clubs successfully will undoubtedly inspire interest from prospective members. Let's get away from showcasing our projects to each other and start showcasing it to the people who really matter, the future Rotarians and supporters out in our communities that clubs need. If all of our clubs show off the different things we do, it will change not only our own clubs, but it will shape District 1010 as a whole. It doesn't matter what you're doing, just tell people about it. When you're looking back through pictures, don't post the posed pictures of people standing around at an event. Show them doing something, show them dancing, having fun, show them who you are. That's what will get people's attention and make them stop. That's what will make people's idea of Rotary change. That's what will shape our brand and make us known for what we do, who we help, and the difference we make. Back to Ken.
Thanks very much, Christy. So we've got a great team working in unison in support of you and your club, and that never-ending circle. We're all here to answer any questions. If you have, put them in chat and we'll come back to you. I know the time's pretty tight today, but I'd like to thank the whole team for putting this together and showing the unison that's here for you. Now, back to incoming District Governor Heather.
Thanks, Ken, and thanks to the whole district team, and do take us up on the opportunity of putting questions in the chat. I said at the beginning of the event that we'll take any questions away that we can't answer and come back to you if we don't get to them today. So that's the real value. We'll save the chat and we will come back. So any thoughts, comments or questions at all, just do please put them in the chat. So I'm now going to introduce to you Colin Winston, who is our next speaker. Please don't worry about the time today because we've got time for everything. We'll just flex the agenda, but we'll definitely finish on time. So Colin, who's going to present to us now, has been a Rotarian for 10 years and is within District 1060, which is the heart of England. Colin served as a Rotary Growth Opportunities Champion. He's done 3 years as membership lead and he's currently the public image lead there too. He's a sales and marketing background in the IT industry and really understands motivations of business leaders and the what's in it for me culture. And interestingly, membership numbers within District 1060 continue to grow, including corporate membership backed by district support for joint initiatives. So we've been looking closely at the work that Colin and the team and District 1060 have been doing, given some of the things we're chatting about as part of today's event already. And so without further ado, Colin, can I hand over to you?
Yes, thank you very much, DGE Heather, and welcome from Heart of England. So I'm on the National Committee along with Christy in terms of public image, but we've had a great deal of success in developing out membership in the Heart of England. And what I'd like to do is just got a few slides I'd just like to show you and to try and get you to think slightly differently about business and how we can incorporate business into our thinking. So I'm just going to share the screen now. Okay, so you should be able to see that. So that's not me, as you can tell, but no points for who can guess who that is. But so I'm currently the public image chair for District 1060, and what Christy's talking about is exactly what we discuss every month at the monthly national meetings, as well as in the district. What I'd like to discuss is why we should talk about business conversations. Now, in 1905, Rotary was created out of business relationships. And I've only been a Rotarian for 10 years, and we seem to be shying away from business relationships. When I joined the Rotary Club, probably half the members in our club at some time or another had their membership paid by the companies they worked for. So they were in banks or building societies, estate agents, undertakers, whatever, but they were quite welcomed in terms of business and business community. And the reason for that was that the companies that they work for saw the value in Rotary, and the fact that if there's Rotary links and Rotarian and the ethical standards of Rotary would actually enhance their own company standing within the local community. They would raise their company name, and they would also perhaps compete better against their competitors that hadn't taken that particular step. More recently, of course, you're used to hearing the expression corporate social responsibility. Corporate social responsibility, very simply, the way that a company, not necessarily a corporate company, any company would spend time and effort working with the local community under the corporate social responsibility banner, and you would see in their annual reports a statement about the work that they've done, either money raised or time expended. So in the business leaders that we're talking to, they ask questions like, what's in it for me? What time is required to attend meetings? What is actually the benefit of Rotary membership? And I know I should help, but how do I get involved? So I also get club members regularly saying to me, I'm retired, I haven't got business contacts now, I don't know the business language, I don't know what CSR is, I don't understand by introducing these businesses into our club what difference it will make. So I just wanted to give you a quick example of something that's actually happened in our district to reinforce the fact. So we have a club in Birmingham, and it's got 12 members. So a small club, average age of 74. They were really struggling with their membership. They didn't know how to increase that. So they talked about having road shows, inviting people in, one-to-ones, etc., etc. So they invited me in to actually try and evaluate what could be done. What was clear was that all these people were conscientious and they were trying to increase the membership. But they didn't really understand their links to business. So, okay, so I said, right, let's get a whiteboard. Who around the table here have got children that are working in business? Well, they all put their hands up. You know, they're pretty much all of them put their hands up. The second question I asked was, who within those businesses have a CSR policy? Well, we don't know. Who is responsible? We don't know who's responsible for that. We think it's the head of HR, or it might be the chief exec, or it might be the owner, or whatever, etc. Anyway, so I said, right, flip chart out. Let's get the names up. Where do your sons and daughters work? So we went down there, and within, I'm not joking, within about 10 minutes, we had 20 names on the board, from the big, large corporates all the way down to the local organisations and companies. So we said, well, we can't go in for all of these. Which ones could we actually speak to tomorrow to actually see whether they're interested in corporate social responsibility and possibly working with Rotary? So we got it down to half a dozen. Well, the bottom line tells you the answer. Within 2 weeks, this club had actually got 2 corporate members. That was 4 actual people that actually, one was a hotel and another one was a local printers. So the hotel are really interested in hosting the things that we do, not necessarily hosting our meals and etc., but in terms of they're really interested in advertising the fact that they are working with Rotary. It's good for their advertising. They may actually use our magazine, the Rotary magazine, to advertise their hotel, etc. Holiday Inn hotels are lots and lots of franchises, so that's individual. The local printers were interesting because they said, so does Rotary require any printing? Well, every club is getting leaflets printed and banners printed and pop-ups and pull-ups and what have you. So that's a real success story, and so simple. And it worked straight away. They were absolutely surprised. But in terms of selling to corporate, the thing that we talk about CSR, but what's actually getting back to basics is, what do the corporates or the business want from Rotary? So yes, they want to increase business, and I'll show you in a minute how that can be described. So it wants to differentiate from its competitors. Yes, Rotary's ethical standards. Yes, it wants to get into networking. I mean, we've got 43,000 members in the UK, plus, you know, a part of the 1.2 million worldwide. Raising the profile of the local business community, raising funds, but more importantly now, engaging staff in projects. So as part of CSR, companies want to have projects where they can pass their staff across. It may be digging the foundations for a barbecue, or it may be actually planting a garden of some kind, a peace pole garden or whatever. But they actually want to get that, and you'll find that they will start putting their performance of that in the front page of their annual report. They will be in their advertising, etc. Of course, when they join us, their membership fees for the company, for corporate membership, are tax deductible. So that's another one, because we're a professional organisation. They add it to the annual reports, as I've just mentioned, and they also look, because we've got 35,000 clubs worldwide, they're also interested in international links, possibly doing business elsewhere around the world. Comical, it may be, but they're also interested in having a certificate in reception. Something so simple that it actually, when their visitors come in, that they can see a certificate which actually says, as I show on the screen here, certificate of corporate membership for Eastcote Park. They love to have that. So where do we meet these people? Yes, we go to expos and we Chamber of Commerce and things like that, but we'll also meet them all the time in business. We go to golf tournaments with them. We go to social events. We go to networking events, etc., etc. We go. So this list here really is a list of pretty much, if we had our radar working in terms of business links, we should be tracking it all the time. So this is a photograph of here of an expo at the Ricoh Arena down in Coventry, whereby we had a stand. It cost, I think it was about £250, and we got 300 hot leads from that to follow up on in terms of corporate membership and what they can actually do. So that was really impressive. Simple questions to ask. Does your company have corporate social responsibility? Who's responsible for it? How do you choose who has the, how do you do charitable works? Who you use? Do you fund as well as involve employees? Are you carrying out business home and abroad? Simple questions to ask, but each one of those actually pops up with a reason to be in Rotary. For us, it's additional members, extra and younger. Primarily, the corporate members that we've got in our district are predominantly younger. They're studying business. They actually get involved in the projects. They bring money. So there and people with them. Okay, you might have 2 members, but they might be in charge of a company with 50 employees, and suddenly you've got a dozen people helping out to build something, whatever you want to do. More fees, more club officers. That's quite an interesting one. At the moment, we seem to be suffering with the merry-go-round of presidents that are presidents, and then again, and a couple of years later they come back again, because there's no new blood coming in. So we're looking to do that. And of course, the longevity of the club. So where does this happen? In our point, we've actually recently taken on corporate members from care homes, solicitors, schools. And I'm just going to pick up on a couple of these. Warwick Racecourse, Hales Aim Football Club, hotel, engineering company, Warwickshire Air Ambulance, local printing company and Indian restaurant. But the Cinnamon Care collection is an interesting one, which is my most recent corporate client, because you're bearing in mind that they're trying to sell us something. So, and the care home sector is so buoyant at the moment, it's a very competitive environment for them to be in. So the Cinnamon Care collection have homes. Admittedly, this particular group aren't in Scotland, so I apologise for that. But what they have is care homes in a competitive environment. They've offered us the corporate membership, we've offered them corporate membership to come in with us And they're already getting involved in doing projects. They're walking up Snowdon. We're working jointly with Age UK on some projects and things like that. But they have budget. They have budget to actually assist on the things that we want to do. They have manpower as well. And they also have premises, which is quite an interesting one, because these ones have restaurant. They have a bar area because the care homes are a mixture of residential as well as care. And they've offered the facilities to have our meetings at their locations. So we're getting a real benefit in both directions. Stanley's, the solicitors, they're really interested in capturing every bit of business in the local community. So they join the golf competition, as you can see there. They come along, they like the certificate on the wall, but they came to us and asked us whether we could recommend a suitable partner for them to work with on their corporate social responsibility. So we said, well, we can handle that. And they said, well, we'd rather work with you, so that in the annual report, it says in association with Rotary, we're working with Midlands Air Ambulance in this particular case, but they also did Buddy Bags and some others. So they send their staff along to assist when we're doing things like the Rotary Pro-Am. They might be organising things on the day, helping with the catering and things like that. Multi-Academy Trust, I think we all know the benefit of every school. We're pretty much all our Rotary clubs in our district have a school within their catchment area, if you like, their geographical area. Every one of them should be signed up as a corporate member. Corporate member, we actually run expos, we do CV writing and mentoring, we do international travel in Uganda. We run a project with the Multi-Academy Trust, and they run the Careers Expo. So there's a reason there that they work with us, we work with them. We also hold some of our district meetings in their premises. So there's a relationship there. Again, a certificate there on the wall that they really like and appreciate as people come into the reception. Warwick Racecourse. Why would a racecourse want to be a corporate member of Rotary? Fantastic. They organised the fireworks night in Warwick. They organised the Thai festival, which is a big dance festival, and that. So they give us the premises. We give manpower. Yes, we help out some race days with some marshalling in the car park, and we actually have a tent there to raise profile of Rotary, get the name across. And the Warwick Racecourse are really proud to be part of Rotary. The football club, Hales Owen Football Club, you know, something that you wouldn't naturally think of a corporate member. Hang on a second, well, Rotary, we organise their Black Country Run, the 10K run and the fun run, and it all runs out of the, excuse the pun, it comes out of the football club, it's organised there, and the local mayor gets involved in that. So, in summary, you should be going out there and thinking about possibilities of business conversations with your the people that you know. It could be that your sons and daughters, brothers, sisters, whatever, are working in companies where they are thinking about corporate social responsibility. And it's worth that simple question. Does it have a plan? Who are they using? Would they like to actually work with Rotary? Because we can actually give them any projects they do, the insurance, the credibility, the risk management, everything. We can take the responsibility onto our shoulders. Yes, we can take them on as membership, and you can see from the website how to do that in terms of corporate members, but they get their certificate, they become full members of the club, so they can vote, they can become officers, etc. there, and then you can work projects with them and celebrate. So it's a real rattle through something which in my district it probably takes me an hour to go through. So I hope that's been of interest and stimulated some questions along the way, which I'm happy to answer at a later date. So my last message there is absolutely work as a team to get that done. Thank you.
Well, Colin Winston, I think it's official. You have a massive fan club now here in District 1010. There's a lot of love coming your way from the chat, I have to say, and definitely you have achieved your objective in terms of getting people to think in a different way about corporate membership. There's no doubt about it. That went down very well. And as was the case when I first heard you talk about this, you talked in a very engaging way about it as well. Colin, you're very generous with your slides and people are asking for them. So I'm pretty sure it's okay to say we'll send them round, and I'm sure that you'll be able to pick up on any requests, which I'm sure will be coming your way to speak at club meetings or other events, because I know you're very good at doing that as well. So any questions for Colin, remember to pop them in the chat and we will get back to you. And so thanks again, Colin, for making the time to come along to today. We're still going to go with our 10-minute break just now, because I'm conscious that we've been going for just over an hour. So we'll see you back here at 11:25. Yes, Jim Houston, you've started your coffee first. I know that. I can see people munching and drinking, and that's absolutely spot on. But for those of us who'd like a comfort break at the same time, I'll see you back here at 11:25. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're happy for the slides to be shared, Colin?
Yes. One thing that I did notice this morning was that I was still using last year's logo.
Okay.
So I hope you noticed I have actually been through and I've put the new logo onto the slides. So what I will do now is I'll send you the slide pack with the proper logo on.
Perfect. That'll be great.
Okay. What I've done is I've just actually copied the logo from another document and just put it on top of the other one and then save the document.
Easy done.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Colin.
Yes, sir.
I wondered if, or generally, could corporate membership that clubs have throughout the district, not the district, so throughout RGBI, if there was a kind of list of them, and then clubs could find out perhaps they've got branches or local facilities in their area which might allow them to perhaps start to approach them, and they've got the history perhaps of another area or another club. It might be a good starter for clubs to start the conversation.
Yes, I mean the DMS covers the corporate members, but I'm not absolutely certain, to be honest, whether it would produce a list of all corporate members so that you could see if there were some regular names coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I will take that away and action that, and I'll find out. I will speak to James in Rotary head office in Ulster and see if that can be done.
Colin, it's Kath here. It shows on DMS, it shows up the names of individuals, but it doesn't show the body that they're part of.
Right. Okay. Let me take that one away, and I will come back to Ken on that one. Thank you, Jim. I can do that.
I think also, there'll be note to Ken, corporate members are not counted as full members in Rotary. Now, we have a corporate membership in our local school, high school, academy. We have made one person a full member, and we pay their fee, their annual club subscription, to allow them to get all the correspondence that then it comes out of RGBI and out of RI and so on, rather than have the secretary forward all the information to them. So at least one of their 4 assistant rectors or assistant head teachers get information straight to them to see what's going on. It's been a pretty, obviously for every school this year, it's been a hard slog keeping their pupils interested and so on. So there's been very little feedback. But so corporate members are not counted as full members. Therefore, do you see then a trend to some of these corporate members becoming full members so they can be counted, if you like?
We do not have corporate members which are freebies. All our corporate members are full members. So for instance, the corporate membership that we've adopted in our district is corporate membership is £300 a year, which entitles 2 full member, 2 full Rotarians as part of that organisation. They get tax deduction on that. So the reason we came up with £300 was that our average club membership, including the 3 elements, which is the RI, the RGBI and district bit, comes to and club bit comes to about 120. So what we decided to do was we didn't want to have the membership for corporates less than normal members, otherwise all the members would want to become corporates. So we charge 150, and we send them an invoice in June, and they pay it straight away. So we don't have any freebies at all.
Yeah, but do you identify? I was thinking about the freebie part of it, because that's a decision of the club. But the fact that these people, if they're identified as corporate members in DMS,
yeah,
they're not recognised by Rotary International. So do you?
Yes,
they need to have 2.
Yes, they are. They are.
Because yes, if
They are
they need to be put in as active members, Jim.
That's
because
well,
that's what
we've
they
done
are.
that. Yes, I
That's
agree
what
with
they
you.
are.
But then you have to name 2 people from that club,
that
that organisation.
to do that.
Yeah, that's what we've done with the academy. So at least there's 1 member anyway.
Yeah, so and we have one organisation that's got 4 members, and we charge £150 a piece for a corporate member, and they get the extra flexibility of being able to transfer that membership should that member of staff move on. All those things that we know in corporate. But yes, if you don't charge and don't give them full membership, they don't get the magazines, they don't get all the information flow directly out of RI. And they don't get the ability to vote at meetings and to take positions in the club. They can't be part of the council and things like that. So we're quite sort of strict on that, really. And I do know that different clubs charge different amounts, and it is up to the club to decide how they want to fund that. We have clubs that perhaps different areas in the district. £120 is too much to pay, so the main portion of it, which is the RI and the district portions of it, some of it's actually covered by the club, and then they have a monthly raffle or something like that, which then brings in some revenue, which then props it up. Always a bit of a risk there though, because you've got to make sure that the members actually stay engaged for the whole of the period. If they stop turning up and stop putting into the raffles, you end up with a bit of a shortfall. That's the problem. It's we're talking about youth. One of the things that I'm keen on, is you will have seen this leaflet here, which is the Rotary GB&I youth competitions. Now, not all the youth competitions are being run at the moment. I'm just worried we've still got a few people watching, but we're still doing young photographer and young writer and things like that. But the one I'm really interested in, which I've just instigated in our district, is Rotary Young Filmmaker. Rotary Young Filmmakers, schools, kids with iPhones, and the topic they're going to have is what Rotary does in our area. So imagine how powerful that's going to be if we can get some information. Earlier on we were talking about public image, getting a 2-minute or a 3-minute summary of what Rotary is doing in a particular geographical area, then that's some work done for us really by sort of semi-professional kids really. So we're looking forward to that. We've only just kicked that one off, so I will report back on how successful it is, but that's it. I can see Heather's come back. Have I got to be quiet, Heather?
No, I think it's great that you're getting all of these questions, and I've listened to them all actually. I just had the video off because I didn't think anybody wanted to see me stuff my face, but I have been listening to all of that, and I think it's just great, the amount of interest that you've got, and it's worked really well actually just taking that into the break with those clubs that are most interested. And I think it's just really prompted people to think about corporate membership where they maybe would have put it to one side, having maybe not been historically very successful with it, or thinking about it through a particular lens. So that's the impression I'm getting, is, you know, people are just getting inspired a bit to think about it, you know, from a fresh perspective. So yeah, well done, Colin. And yeah, I think if we can put the presentation around, and the presentation we'll make sure that the presentation's got your contact details at the end.
Yes, right.
It normally does, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think if you get 10% of your members discuss over Sunday lunch with their family, you know, the corporate business membership, you know, corporate sometimes makes it sound too, you know, you've got to have this multinational organisation that's going to get involved in this. But it's not everything. It's from the local printers and football clubs and everybody that could benefit from a joint working relationship with Rotary.
Yeah. And I think the thing that really struck me when I heard you speak was it just really resonated with you. We're building partnerships and relationships. Yeah. It wasn't just a kind of come and give us your money type thing, which I'm not saying people do, but it's more about the what's in it for Rotary and what's in it for the business, and what does that look like in terms of a whole range of opportunities to work together. So thanks again, Colin, and yeah, I'm sure lots of people are going to be in touch. You might rue the day that I saw your presentation, but thanks again, much appreciated.
That's absolutely.
So, thank you. So getting us back on track then, I talked a little bit in my introduction about making Rotary relevant to younger people, and interestingly enough, there's been a lot of chat in the chat about Rotaract and younger people and Rotary. So hopefully this is again going to feel very relevant for people, because this is the project I was talking about that we've got the opportunity to be a pilot district for. And we've got two speakers this morning, Shwetal Shah from Rotaract Great Britain and Ireland, and Janine Birtwhistle, who's from the Rotary Club of Guernsey. Their bios were sent out, and in fact Shwetal's has got a couple of wee video links in it which tells you a little bit more about her in her own words, which is great. But I think given time, I'll just press on. But I failed the first test because I can't remember who's up first, Shwetal or Janine.
Shwetal.
Right, go for it. Thanks, Janine. So Shwetal, the meeting is yours. I'll hand over to you, and you're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Hi, everyone. It's nice to meet you all, and thank you for giving me the time to talk about the Seeds of Social Action initiative. I am part of the Rotaract E-Club of GBNI that Heather mentioned, and currently I live in London, but I actually went to Scotland for my master's degree. I went to the University of Strathclyde, so I absolutely love Scotland. And I will share my screen now to talk about this initiative. So I think everyone should be able to see my presentation now. Yeah, okay, great. So yeah, like I mentioned, I live in London now. I went to Strathclyde for my master's degree. I am originally from Mumbai, India. I moved to the UK back in 2013. After I graduated from my master's degree, I moved down to London, and I have been working in technology ever since then. When I was in school, I really loved science and technology, and even in London. But looking at the gender imbalance, whether in the wider industry or even at my first job where I was the youngest and I was the only female working in tech, I started wondering what I could do to make a difference. And as I was thinking about ways to encourage more girls and women wanting to enter science and technology, I came across this opportunity from O2 Think Big. The O2 are the mobile network, and they used to have an initiative which has unfortunately now closed down, but they used to give grants of £300 to young people. So back in 2015, I was lucky enough to be one of the recipients of a grant of £200 from O2, which completely changed my life. As I mentioned, seeing the gender balance in the tech sector and the wider lack of social mobility and role model representation in the mainstream media led me to undertake various outreach initiatives. With the grant that I got from O2, I reached out to women scientists on Twitter and I invited them to talk about their research via a series of free public science lectures called Explore Science, aimed at making science more accessible and showcasing women scientists' work to the wider public in general. Now, being service oriented, which is at the heart of Rotarians, I want to collaborate with Rotary clubs across GBNI so that we can start a mini grants revolution empowering young people by giving them access to mentoring and funding support. So they can also work on social action projects like I did and make a difference to their community. This initiative can be undertaken with the Road Tract E-Club of GBNI that I am a member of. And we can collectively work with Rotary clubs across GBNI to get this off the ground and support young people. But you might be wondering, does this actually make a difference? Like, would £200 make any difference in young people's lives? So I actually want to pull out 3 examples of young people that I met on this journey I was with O2. They all received £200. And so I briefly want to talk about what £200 a young person can do with. So for example, I met Femi. When I met him, he was 11 years old. And he used the £200 to start a free coding club. He was diagnosed with autism and Tourette's. And so he focused on making a coding club which is friendly for young people who have Tourette's and autism. And he wanted to show them they can use other skills and they can learn how to code and make a difference. So he used the Raspberry Pi to teach young people how to code. And it's made such a huge impact. Femi has gone on to do great things with that grant. The other example that I want to give is of Bronte Edwards. When I met her, she was 19 years old. She lives in Leeds. She was at one point in life on the verge of homelessness, but she used the £200 to start a creative writing workshop for the homeless in Leeds. And she also worked with Pret to give away food to the homeless community. And the other example is of David. When I met him, he was 25 years old. And being from the LGBT community himself, he wanted to raise more awareness about LGBT issues. And he wanted to tackle homophobic bullying that young people face in Norwich. So he used the £200. He went into schools in Norwich and he spoke about LGBTQ issues and create more awareness about that in general. So these are just a few examples. After my talk, I will share a link of the documentary that I actually made, which has other examples of 10 other young people and how they've been using £200 to create a positive impact on their communities. But all of us were only able to get these off the ground because of the mini grant that we got from O2, which I mentioned unfortunately has stopped now. It also gave me the confidence and motivation to do more for my community. As I mentioned, I am from India. When I had moved to London at that time, I was still new to this country, new to the city. I didn't have any friends. I didn't have any family over here. So this initiative, this project actually became my family, but it also gave me motivation to do things in a country where I didn't really have any roots before. And it also made me believe that someone believes in my ideas, and that encouraged me to do more for the wider society in general. And not only that, but these efforts to improve the gender imbalance within the tech sector, within the science sector, and improve the role model representation actually created a ripple effect and opened up other doors, which I would have never believed when I moved to the UK. I was featured on Forbes Asia 30 and 30. I was invited to meet with Prince Harry when he was appointed the youth ambassador to the Commonwealth countries. And I was invited to discuss with him of how him and the government can make a difference to young people's lives. And like I said, I never would have realized this investment of £200 in me would turn into all of this 4 years down the line. The last year has laid bare the inequalities we as a society, especially young people, are facing, whether that be the global pandemic or whether that be the Black Lives Matter movement, which has really shown how ethnic minorities suffer from a lot of inequalities, which probably we all knew existed, but they were never in our face like they have been since last year. And so I started wondering, what more could I and we as a society can do to actually empower young people to make a difference so that longer term, we don't see cases like George Floyd. And when I was invited to join the Rotary E-Club last year, I started thinking maybe the project that supported me could be something that we could leverage with the Rotarians and maybe start implementing this again and help younger people. So that led to the creation of Seeds of Social Action, with the hope that the seeds of these mini grants that we sow in our communities today will lead to 1 million acts of peace tomorrow. Now, I want to invite Janine, who will be talking about how she is spearheading this initiative with her club in Guernsey. She has been the biggest cheerleader and supporter of this idea from the very start, and we have co-created a lot of these things together. And so now she will actually talk about the practicality of how a Rotary Club can take this initiative and implement it practically within their regions. So thank you again for listening to me. And Janine, I'm going to hand over to you now.
Thanks very much, Shwetal, and it's terrific to be in Scotland, one of my favourite places in the world. Our contact details are here. You know, we can only give you a very whistle-stop tour of what Seeds of Social Action is about. But, you know, the theme of today is about making it relevant. And for me, it's also about Rotaract and Rotary, the opportunity to work together, which actually resonates with a lot of the things I've been seeing in chat too. This is something that I think is one of the most exciting initiatives that we could actually do across Great Britain and Ireland. In fact, I think it could go global if we actually got this right. And I'm absolutely delighted that my own district, 1110 down the south, and you guys up here in North Scotland are the 2 pilot districts. So thank you very much. So if we get things wrong at times, we need you to help us to get it right, please, before we widen it out. But it's something that you can tailor for exactly what you want to do in your community, whatever that looks like. And it's for young people aged between 11 and 25. It is very much about a Rotaract initiative, and Rotaract GB&I will give you as little or as much support as you want. Shwetal and I will give you as little or as much support as you want as well, separately. But it's also about Rotaract clubs that are in your own area too. And it may be a way of actually generating interest in new Rotaract clubs or new Rotaractors getting involved. But it's about young people, and it's about what they feel they need to be doing for their own communities, for themselves, for their development, for the seeds of social action. And there are materials readily available for you to adapt. And the first of those is a flyer, which is for young people, aimed at young people. Now, again, this can be adapted, but it's for young change makers aged between 11 and 25. And Shwetal's given you 3 examples of what they are. In my own club, what we're going to do is we are going to offer up to 5 mini grants, and this is nothing to do with foundation grants. This is funded ourselves in our own ways. And in fact, I was talking to one business over here, and within 3 minutes, not only had they offered to give us mentors from their young professional lawyers, accountants, salespeople, marketing or whatever, they'd offered to give us mentoring, but within the 3-minute discussion about this program, they'd also offered to pay one lot of £200 for one of those grants. So it's something you can really engage with your business community as well. So it's for ages 11 to 25. So fantastic for interactors as well. You know, it's a great way of getting them involved. And in fact, you could have it to some new Interact clubs as well. And it's about the social need that they decide that they want to do, or perhaps that they're already doing, and a grant would be helpful. Now, we've set it up as £200, but again, you can vary that. There are website materials available, and I'll give you the website address shortly. These next few things, some of those are already on the website. Some of them you may need to still contact Shwetal and I, because we're in the process of getting them added onto the website. But, you know, creating a mini grants revolution, it's very much takes you, it's a short summary document that takes you through the process from deciding what you're going to do, who you need to help you with it, launching it. It's about giving them this opportunity to apply for a grant. Now, they may need help in actually making that application. The application could be written, or it could be a video application. And it may be that it's for a totally new initiative, or it's to help them to grow or to develop an existing initiative that they're already working on. There are mentors, and you can either provide those mentors yourself, or you can again work with Rotaracti Club of GB&I, or perhaps local Rotaractors, or like we're going to do with certainly one of ours, is working with our business community. And it's about giving them the money, it's about giving them the mentoring support, and it's about making it relevant to your community. So if you decide that you want to do it just for environment, or just for this, or just for that, you can do. In Guernsey, we've decided that we're going to use it as peace as our core, because we believe all service is related to peace. And I'd love to come and talk to you about peace, but that's another subject for another day. On the website, the one document that is already there is the Rotary Club information and sign-up pack, and that will actually lead you through the whole process. It helps you to decide what you want to do, how you're going to do it, who you need to get involved, what support you need. And the other document that is already there is the mentoring document. And there's lots of information there about what a mentor is, what the role is, if you need training for mentors. It takes you through the whole process. And what we're suggesting, you might feel that the role of a mentor for the Seeds of Social Action projects you're going to do in your local area actually are. And then one of the key things is, what does it look like from a young person? Because this isn't about you, it's not about Shwetal or Rotary, it's about young people. And at the end of the day, it needs to be something that is relevant to them and what they want to do. Because don't forget, I actually think that the generations behind us care more about the generations that they're going to be leaving behind than we ever have. They really do care. So it's really important that this is a journey that is relevant to them. So as I say, we're going to limit it to peace as being the core of our areas of focus in Guernsey, but you can choose what you do. We're going to make sure that whatever it is fits in with one of Rotary's areas of focus, because we also see it as a way from a public image perspective of actually getting our community to better understand what Rotary is about. So, you know, it's a win-win situation every way you look at it. The two links for the website information are both on the rotaractgbi.org website. One is the club info, which is that longer document that talks you through the whole project.
At all.
And then
yeah, so thanks to you both, much appreciated, and just really great to have you here for the whole meeting as well. And Janine, you were saying earlier on that you thought the chat and also you know, what's been getting spoken about today is great, and I would agree. So thanks again, and without further ado, I am now passing over to Bill Ross, please.
Thanks. So over the next 15 minutes, we've got a couple of presentations from two clubs who got district grants, and they're going to talk about their projects. The first is David Chalmers from Rotary Dunfermline, who has a wealth of experience with 18 international projects under his belt, many of which have benefited from foundation grants. David is going to talk about the club's Reuniting Families project in Kenya. It's over to you, David.
Hear me all right. Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Bill. A project which was completed just earlier this year was based in Kenya. In Kenya, there are children in orphanages that do have families, but those families, because of their poverty, cannot afford to keep them, feed them, or pay for their schooling. This project simply aimed to reunite these children with their families, that was the easy part, but then tackle the poverty problem so that these families can have a self-supporting future. Now, this was to be achieved by providing training and support so that these families could establish and run their own basic small businesses. In conjunction with a UK charity, and that charity's staff based in Kenya, and also the Kenya Women Microfinance Bank, a basic but very comprehensive program of training in financial literacy and business skills was developed. This was further supported by a member of the Rotary Club of Langata in Nairobi, who had considerable experience in setting up small businesses. Now, there were 13 families participating in this project. All of them were living in and around Nairobi. Now, I wonder, somebody was going to kindly put on my slides for me. I wonder if the first slide could come up. Right. Well, there certainly was an initial delay to the start of the project due to the pandemic. And the first slide that hopefully will come up will show one of these training sessions with all the participants suitably socially distanced. You also note that the participants are entirely women of the family. These are the people who are driving the project. All the women are doing that, and there are even a couple of grandmothers involved in the project. Could we maybe put on the next slide, please? Thank you. The cost of the project, you'll see there, was £2,632, 50% of which came from a district grant and 50% from the Dunfermline Club's own finances. At this point, I would digress a little and express our thanks to the support we had and the encouragement we had from the members of our district's foundation committee. I would add that the UK charity also covered the children's school fees and some other financial support during the training and establishing of these businesses. What the project costs were detailed above. On to the last slide now. Initially, the families were supported by weekly, fortnightly visits, which were phased out over a period of something like 4 to 6 months. This was to ensure that these businesses, these small businesses, were established and the families were confident they could make a success of them. Now, I've only managed to squeeze 8 photographs of these families onto this slide. I would have liked actually very much to have had time to talk about the individual stories surrounding each of the 13 families we have helped, but there isn't time. But at least I can quickly run through the sorts of businesses set up. Starting from the top left, there was a beauty salon, a small chicken farm, making and selling beaded products, a banana stall, setting up a shop selling second-hand curtains, a general goods shop, retailing sandals, and a stall selling spices. I'd like to just give some of the quotes from the families from these projects. I'm now able to provide for our family. Our children are excited at going to the local school, not some faraway school that the orphanage had. Always sure of our next meal. We are all together again. A very important point was made to us that whatever happens to these businesses in the future, these women now have the confidence, the drive, and the basic financial and business skills to give themselves and their families sustainable futures. In fact, to use the words of World President Shaker, whose words we heard at the beginning of this assembly, this project changed lives. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Yeah, I'm sure that's worthy of a longer presentation at some stage. And doesn't it resonate with the Seeds of Change project we've just had described, what you can do to help families help themselves for a fairly small sum of money? I think it's hard for people in this country to imagine children put into homes because their families were suffering from extreme poverty. And of course, the solution is to raise the capacity of families to move out of poverty. And I think that's the solution for many issues around the world, is just to help families, help people help themselves. And now to move on to the second presentation, John Steele arrived back in Aberfeldy from Switzerland via Malaysia. I think he took the long way around. And he, after initiating the Aberfeldy Fun Walk, he led Rotary's involvement in the Aberfeldy Dementia Friendly Project, which he's now going to talk about. John, the screen is yours.
Welcome to Aberfeldy. The sun is shining here, it's a great day. To put you in the picture, Aberfeldy Rotary District participated in international project in 2018, which was a clean water project in Africa. Coming into 2019, there was a strong feeling within the club that they would like to do a domestic project. We have a very high profile within the district, and we felt that it was important.
Well, wait a minute, John, you've gone on to mute.
There.
That's you?
Sorry about that, folks. So, in 2018, a small group of women who lived in the district who were involved in healthcare identified with Dementia Friendly as being a project that they would like to take forward and eventually have it where Aberfeldy town was recognised as a dementia friendly town. The first town to become dementia friendly in Scotland was Motherwell back in 2012. Dementia itself within Scotland in 2019, there was 90,000 people were suffering from dementia. And in Aberfeldy town, there was 200 people actually recognised as suffering from dementia. 200 people suffering also identifies with probably another close to 200 carers to look after the 200 people suffering. So you can imagine it is quite a significant number of people. This project was to enable sufferers to participate again in the social aspects and the fabric of village life, which today they are unable to do due partly to the high levels of stress living in an environment where they have difficulty in recognising both people and places. Aberfeldy Rotary Club members, in addition to fundraising, we also addressed the aspect of purchasing and installing equipment in order to help people suffering with dementia. In raising the funds, we ran car boot sales, we did the fun walks, promoting dementia friendly in the process. In total, between our club and foundation, £3,000 was supported towards dementia friendly group. And that was for the purchase of clocks. And a clock seems a very simple thing, but for people suffering from dementia, a clock is an extremely important thing. But the type of clock, the design of the clock, to ensure that they can recognise what the day is, what the time is, whether it's AM or PM. Very simple, but very, very important. Other things like special plugs for sinks and baths. You don't always recognise that for somebody suffering from dementia, when they fill a bath or they fill a sink, unless they're conscious that they're doing that, and many, many times it can lead to flooding within their houses. So these plugs were actually pressure activated plugs, which will then open automatically and prevent flooding. Or they can actually open automatically if the temperature set. In addition, this very short overview is going to be followed by a video that was made by BBC Scotland, and it highlighted the dementia friendly project within Aberfeldy itself. But a key part of the project through the year was that we enabled a Rotary member to be part of the steering group within the Dementia Friendly Action Group. And that ensured that Rotary's aims and expectations were actually brought to the front during the 12 months. So I'm going to leave it there, and you'll now have a short video highlighting Dementia Friendly.
A change of colour can make a world of difference.
The job today is to change the toilet seat. As you can see, we've got a white toilet seat on a white bowl. From a dementia friendly aspect, we need to differentiate the colour of the seat to help them to identify where the actual seat is.
Members of the Aberfeldy Rotary Club lend a helping hand. The whole community is involved in making Aberfeldy dementia friendly.
What we're trying to do is really to raise awareness of dementia and highlight simple things that people can do that can really make a difference. And we feel that if we do raise awareness, people become more informed, and if you're more informed, that you can empathise with individuals and anticipate some of their needs.
And that includes making cinema visits less of a drama. Watching a film should be enjoyable, not daunting.
We can adapt our screenings and adapt the auditorium to be more suitable and flexible, to be comfortable for people with dementia. So, for example, we've got the lights. You can see the lights are up a bit at the moment. We take the sound down. There are other practical things like signage around the cinema. But probably more importantly, we promote films that are going to be friendly for people with dementia.
But does any of this actually make any difference?
I think anything that helps people who are caring for dementia partners, parents, whatever, is helpful, because when you get the diagnosis, you're going into completely unknown territory. You don't know what's available, you don't know how it's going to pan out, you don't know what you're going to need.
Carol May used to work with dementia patients when she was a staff nurse. Her mother is now very elderly, and a specialised clock helps her with the time.
The clock has been a very, very big change for her. She can now see very clearly, very precise, the day of the week.
Aberfeldy is not the first town to do this, and campaigners hope it won't be the last. They hope everywhere becomes dementia friendly, because all of us are going to benefit. Elizabeth Quigley reporting Scotland, Aberfeldy.
Thank you. Two totally different projects, but both great examples of the work that clubs are doing, helped by your donations to foundations. So thank you.
Thanks, everybody. That was great. So now we're moving, because we've touched on it a few times, now we're moving to have a bit of a chat about our new area of focus, which was a great area of interest at District Council, and is something which clubs are talking to us already about a lot. And I know that Malcolm Rooney, who's coming on to speak, who is our District Environment Officer, is getting kept particularly busy going out and speaking to clubs just about this. So we wanted to take a few minutes today to try and offer some, I suppose, practical support and ideas, and also answer some of your questions. And we've had some questions in advance. Malcolm, I can't see you, but if you want to just kick off, and then we can have a chat about some of the questions that we've had coming in from clubs.
That's great, Heather. I'll just share my screen and run the PowerPoint. Well, we're all aware probably that Rotary has, up until now, had 6 areas of focus. There is now a 7th area, which is supporting the environment. And what I want to do is just unpick that a little this afternoon. So the new area of focus, supporting the environment, it comes with 8 strands. And I'm just very quickly going to run through those strands in this presentation. The first is about protecting and restoring land. A couple of images there.
underlining the importance of that. Then we have, secondly, building communities that nurture natural resources. All of these have a whole lot of points to them. I'm just highlighting at the moment. Then the third one is sustainable food production in all its various forms, followed by tackling the causes of climate change and its industrial causes, solutions, wind turbines, etc., home energy, solar panels, recycling, and so on. Then we have strengthening the resilience of communities. That's about well-being and inclusiveness, and that kind of resonates with some of the chat that's going on today. So it's improving supply chain resilience, strengthening climate resilience, reducing biodiversity loss, and so on. Then education. I wonder how many of you can identify the signs on the left of the screen there. What does FSC stand for? What does O1 PAT refer to, and so on? And what does it mean to be widely recyclable or compostable? What is compostable and how long does it take to compost something? When I talk about the environment and environmental sustainability and climate change, I do so under these three headings: know about it, care about it, and do something about it. And it's not rocket science in terms of what you do. You start by switching a light off or changing to LED light bulbs. Then sustainable consumption, it becomes more complicated with an example there of coffee berries and how the processes that produces the coffee, or setting the stage for sustainable consumption and what does sustainable consumption really mean. And then environmental justice and public health concerns. I really feel quite strongly. My youngest grandson is 2. That means at 2100, he'll be the average age of a Rotarian. And that just scares me about the kind of world that he will live in. So the rich get rich and the poor get poor. And the graphics there illustrate that. So that is just a very quick overview of what the environment as an area of focus might mean. Now, Heather, do you want me to run through some of the questions I've got, or do you want to do it?
I want to do it because I've always quite fancied myself as a bit of a David Frost. And I'm going to take this opportunity to put you in the red hot seat. So, Malcolm Rooney.
I don't know.
Here's the first question. What are the advantages in your view of the environment becoming an area of focus? We've been asked.
Well, I think it establishes the environment as a core area in the Rotary agenda. It opens up environmental projects to district and global grants. And remember that these grants are not just abroad, but they can be for environmental projects at home. It's a focus for Rotarians knowing about, caring about, and doing something about the environment. And as we've heard repeatedly today, it's also a kind of opportunity to get involved with young people. And it gives me a new focus for talking to clubs. So if any club wants to talk about the environment as an area of focus, then just give me a shout. Okay, I'm not sure who you are now, Heather, but keep going.
Yes, I know, I'm loving this. I'm thinking Sally Magnuson. That makes a Rotary connection through Playlist for Life. Yeah, so very, very important point here actually, which we've been asked a number of times. What can clubs and Rotarians do to make the environment as an area of focus really come alive at local level? What's your best tips? Because that's what clubs are looking at for just now, I think.
Well, there's a development going on at the moment where the 3 Rotary districts in Scotland are going to collaborate with Keep Scotland Beautiful. Keep Scotland Beautiful have a raft of projects and activities like eco schools, beach cleans, upriver cleans, and so on. They have a Clean Up Scotland campaign which will run late May and into June. And we're going to suggest that Rotary clubs join that Clean Up Scotland campaign as a starting point. It's basically litter picking. but there's backup material that comes from Keep Scotland Beautiful. So what we're talking about, what kind of litter is being dumped, how can we stop litter being dumped, and so on. So that's a really starting point, and look to other KSB projects and see if they work for you. Do you have a club environment officer? And if you don't, why not? To the clubs that I've spoken to already, please take what I've said to heart. If I haven't spoken to your club yet, then please ask me. And finally, and this is a loaded question because I'm a member of it, join ESRAG, the Environmental Sustainability Rotary Action Group, and you'll get a whole lot of ideas for projects there as well.
Thanks, Malcolm. So I also have one. I've got two other questions which I'm going to ask you to answer after the meeting, but just to acknowledge them, I had a question from Sandy Scott at Inverurie Rotary Club, who was just saying about the Young Environmentalist competition, and being too late to get into that this year. What's potential advice, support and assistance could the club get from district and to help him as club environmental officer encourage participation, which is what you're talking about, and are really always very helpful to, very eager to go and help with. And Alistair Risk as well was asking for, just support and easy access to information, leaflets, posters that could be personalised to clubs, just a one-stop shop about an area that clubs are going to be really interested in. So I'll get those questions to you and we'll distribute those two questions and the answers. In fact, what we possibly could do is record your answers to those questions and tack them onto the end of the recording. And that
the answer is yes to both. It's very simple. Get in touch and yes.
I knew that, but I thought you may want to take the opportunity to expand. But that's great. I mean, it just felt a really important opportunity just to keep that dialogue going with clubs and to get a sense of what was important. And it's been really useful both in advance of the meeting and in terms of what you've brought to the meeting today, Malcolm. So sincere thanks to you for that, and to those who put questions in. And of course, that wasn't a one-off opportunity to put questions in, Malcolm, was it? Whether you like it or not, that's an ongoing opportunity. Without end for clubs to get in touch with you. Do you want to pop your email in the chat, Malcolm, just for ease for people? Yeah. Okay, fantastic. Right, great, thanks. So moving on, John Johnson has not so subtly reminded me that he wants to say something about the district conference, and you may have noticed that he has changed his backdrop. And I don't know if that was just to remind me that I needed to go over to him about the conference, or just to in a attention-grabbing behaviour, I'm not sure. But over to you, please, John, to talk about the conference.
Thanks a lot, Heather. That's great. Just a few things about the conference. The conference is Sunday, the 6th of June. It's based on this year's current Rotary theme, which is Rotary opens opportunities. Also, Rotary at the heart of our communities. The website is up and running, www.1010conference.co.uk for registration, and further information will be on there as we get it. The background that I have at the moment is for Rotary's Got Talent, which is the main tagline for what we're doing in the evening. So we want some Rotary entertainment, be it, have you got a Rotarian who's a magician, a comedian, a dancer, a singer. We've had a couple of entries in already, so certainly looking to be an entertaining and different sort of event. We also have some input from professional entertainers, so just in case the talent is maybe not as high as we expect. But I'm really thinking that there's a lot of talent.
Thing to say.
I really think, judged on what I have already, that it is going to be phenomenal. And I think it's a really good thing to take part in. We'll have speakers from all over the world. We'll have a speaker from Mark Huddleston from Australia joining us in the morning. And we've got a few other bits and pieces. The 4 minutes for 4 charities, there'll be more information on that part of it on the website shortly. We're just pulling together the terms and conditions on that because I think it's quite important that they're clear and fair to all. And that is it from me at the moment, but just please register. It's there, take part. I'll be dropping some more emails and information as the next month goes on, because we're only 41 days away from conference, and it will be a real celebration of District Governor Alistair's year. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thanks, John. Sounds amazing. I can't wait. It's going to be great, actually. Can I just ask, what's your special talent then, John? What's your performance?
My special talent is, I reckon I'll maybe be your
in the bar?
host for the night. I've been practicing all year on Zoom, so I think as a game show host or something like that, I'm quite getting towards it. I'm sure most of the other presidents are the same. Thank you.
You're just not getting in the spirit of it, but thanks for that.
I haven't got an interesting bone in my body. I'm sorry.
I'm really looking forward to seeing as many people as possible at the conference, because it does sound amazing. And we are now going to do the conferences going forward at the end of June, so that it does become a real celebration of the previous year. So the next conference will be in June 22 as well. And once we're through this conference, we'll give you some more details of that and a wee save the date. So thanks again, everybody, for coming along. Can I just ask DGN Jim Hatter, please, to do the thanks and closing remarks.
Thank you, DG Hatter. District Assembly, as you know, most important element within our calendar of the Rotary year. This year's District Assembly has been about District 1010 taking opportunities to create, under difficult conditions as COVID, a vision of moving forward with plans for the Rotary year 2021-22. Making Rotary relevant to those in our communities, both locally and internationally, and for younger people, for social action, for businesses. This year's theme, Serve to Change Lives. Growth and development is a priority, and doing nothing is not an option. Membership, the family of Rotary. Well, thank you, DGE Heather and DGN Ken, for giving us DG Alistair Rob's thoughts and program of action to grow Rotary in District 1010. Thank you to speakers Colin Winston, Shwetal Shah, Janine Birtwistle, and our own district support team members, also David Chalmers and John Steele for their presentations. For the experience today and the encouragement and inspiration on key matters of Rotary activity. Thank you to Christy Robb for public image, One Rotary, a key to growth and membership, and also Rotary action. Working together with clubs across areas and with other districts, the technological benefits that lay before us, the encouragement of doing Rotary differently, and the opportunities of being more flexible in what we do and how we do it is there for the taking. As once said by past District Governor Roddy Duncan, and I quote, "It's what we do that matters." Rotary Foundation, our own charity, doing goodwill throughout the world. Polio eradication. I know some of you will think it's been a long time coming, but we are almost there, and just be patient, I ask of you, and we must see it through. Peace scholars and the work that they have taken on, giving younger people around the world a point of interest for the betterment of all concerned. Our new area of focus, the environment, and the challenges and opportunities for Rotary involvement is waiting for Rotary in action. Volunteer Expert, I'd just like to remind you, is on May the 7th and 8th, and there's no travel involved. It's online, no hotels except your own home. And I would like to remind you also that our team leaders have either done training seminars pre-assembly, but mostly we'll be doing follow-up training after the assembly session. Registration is still open, so just get on board for that expo and see how it works. And thank you, all of you, for giving up your time today. It's beautiful out there. It's lovely, and I know you want to get into some sunshine. So thank you for making DGE Heather's assembly a very good opportunity, and we look forward to what we can do in the year 2021-22 and Rotary in action. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks again, everybody. Enjoy the sunshine. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, folks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.